Good morning. Morning, Deb and Dora. Um, Happy Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Um, another nice day, it seems. Probably good weather. We're really getting a string of luck here. Um, and it looks like, for the foreseeable future, pretty nice. So that's a good thing. Um, I know we're all still wondering what happened with the election. I keep remembering, uh, well, I think about what it must have been like way back in the day. So I heard someone talking about the deadline for states to uh, submit their vote totals is like December 8th or something, right? And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then I thought, well, I guess it's not crazy if you are back in olden times when people were doing all this stuff by hand and, you know, they had to ride a horse to wherever they needed to go to deliver the results. So um, we have certainly waited longer to find out. Uh, so here we go. Just wait and see. Um, and meanwhile, right, I think this is a really good um, practice, right? Uncertainty is a practice sort of in and of itself, living with uncertainty. Um, we uh, we like to kind of assume or believe, really, that we don't have a lot of uncertainty in our life, that things are very predictable, and we may, have different feelings about that. Sometimes we might actually feel kind of distressed that our life is so predictable and maybe dull at times. Um, and other times, we might be grateful for that. But most of us, we work, we put some effort into making our lives stable. So we don't have a lot of big, scary surprises and, things that turn up that we've forgotten about or whatever. So, yeah, so the stability and this predictability of our life um, is maybe something we pursue. But let's be clear, it's an illusion in a it's nice, to be able to exert a certain amount of control over your life, to stay on top of your responsibilities so that things don't get out of control. You forget to pay bills, you forget to do the things you're supposed to do. Um, but let's be clear, there is an inherent instability in everything. Um, we don't honestly know if we are going to wake up in the morning. We believe we will. Chances are you will. Um, I'm not telling you you won't, but I'm saying anything is possible, right? We don't know what may come. We like to forget about that because it can be a source of anxiety if you think about it too deeply, right? You really follow that train of thought to where it leads. Um, but we can use this as a tool. So uncertainty and the acceptance of that uncertainty, um, it leads us to, again, this state of santosha, um, contentment, equanimity, being accepting of what comes, not feeling um, like we can control everything, right? Because um, that's the mistake here. When we work hard to control everything, we may come under the impression that we can control everything, and that if we just do certain things, we can stop anything bad from ever happening to us, right? Wouldn't that be great? It's impossible. Um, so if something bad happens, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, maybe you did, but it's not. It doesn't follow one from the other, right? You can do everything right in your life and have terrible tragedies. You can do all the wrong things and have great things happen to you. Um, again, it's not a simple 1 + 1 = 2. Um, karma and the results of our actions is more like a complicated algebraic equation. Um, it's not something we may see directly, and it's certainly not something that we can always control. So it's heartbreaking to me when I see people so sad at the outcome of something in their life, and all they want to talk about is what did they do wrong? What could I have done different? How could I have stopped this? How could I have seen this coming? What could I have done to uh, I mean, I don't know, maybe nothing. Um, it is very possible to do all the right things and to have the outcome not be to your liking. And that's the key thing here, is that it isn't all about you, right? It isn't. Um, there are billions of people in the world, and things aren't always going to go your way. That is the truth of it. Um, so rather than beat yourself up and try to, punish yourself for not being almighty and all powerful and omniscient, accept that this is how it is, and that you win some, you lose some. That is the truth of everything. Um, sometimes everything goes your way, and sometimes it does not. So it's okay. All right, so we kind of got back here on Santosha, but let's keep moving on. Svadhyaya. Um, it's a funny name, funny word. It means self-study, spiritual study, and observation. So we can learn a lot from paying attention to our behavior. Um, and so this is, what we were just talking about, right? So if you notice this about yourself, that you do tend to blame yourself for everything that goes wrong in your life, or even in your family, or in your world, or everything. If you think somehow you had a hand in that, or you didn't do enough to prevent it, that's something you might need to work on, right? That is a destructive way to think. So you might think, okay, I need to work more on my equanimity. I need to work more on being in this state of santosha, contentment with whatever comes. Um, that doesn't mean you don't want to change things, or to do things differently, or to work for change in our world. But you understand that you're only one person. We are all only one person. We can only move things so far in our lifetime. It may not be as far as you'd like it to be. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's where that acceptance has to come in. Um, that's the truth of it, is that people accomplish, generally speaking, far less than they would like. I think sometimes we have great jumps forward, and then we may move back a little bit. Um, Change is not linear. It isn't one step after another. I don't think. I think there's a lot of moving back and forth and up and down. Um, Again, it's a complex system. If it were just up to you how everything would go, then everything would always go your way. But you're just part of a much larger picture, and that's something that bears repeating to yourself again and again. um, so yeah, Svadhyaya is that um, observation of what's going on with you, what's coming up for you again and again in your life. What are the lessons that you are meant to learn? Um, Again, we don't know this, right? You don't necessarily get a list. You don't uh, you don't hear. Some people do, right? Some people have much more of a connection, and they actually, they feel, they can hear that voice within that tells them this and this. But for most of us, it's not that way. It's more of an observation. What am I doing again and again? What situation do I keep getting put into? Um, you know, these are the things that let you know where you might need some work, right? If you are constantly being put into a situation where people are taking advantage of you, let's say, you are always agreeing to things that you don't really want to do. Um, you you are very, it's a frustrating feeling. It's a frustrating situation. Maybe you look around and realize that the people that you're with are not people that you enjoy being with. Um, and you've basically crafted a life that suits everyone else, but not you. Um, that can happen, right? So if you see this happening, you need to take some steps. Okay, what am I doing? I'm not living my truth, right? So you need to work on that satya, right? So the yamas and the niyamas are they are kind of a playbook, right? A blueprint, let's say. When you feel like, you are having trouble in your life, which one of these are you not following? Which one of these can help you get out of that, whatever it is? And if it's coming up again and again and again, right? This is really where I need to work. And for most of us, I mean, we may need to work on all of these things at certain times in our life. I mean, I wouldn't say that most of us need to work on them all the time. Otherwise, I think your life would be just chaos all the time. I don't know. Maybe your life is chaos all the time. It's possible. But if you do feel like a number of these yamas and niyamas are not working for you, then I'd work on one at a time, right? Don't jump in and try to do it all. Starting with the himsa, right? That's your best one, um, the beginning one, right? So um, the way they fit together, the yamas and niyamas, is like, so the yamas are the way we're interacting with the outer world. The niyamas are kind of, maybe the best way to describe them is our preparation, right? So by working the steps of the niyamas, we then are prepared to live the yamas, right? So going through with the cleanliness, purity, that working on the contentment and self-discipline, spiritual study. I mean, you can see how all of these things work together to prepare you to be able to live the yamas, right? So You may not know your truth until you've done the self study to understand, what do I need? What am I missing? Um, what do I want? Right? A lot of people have never even asked themselves these things, right? And maybe you haven't either. Or maybe you did a very long time ago, but you haven't recently. Um, come back to it. We change. What we want changes, um, for sure. And we need to be aware of that. We don't want to get stuck living a life that worked for us, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but doesn't fit anymore. Um, that's very possible that can happen. So, Svadhyaya, a funny word, um, for a very important concept. Um, and you can turn that observation, right? Observation on others as well, right? So we frequently, I think, we don't observe enough about what's going on in our own world. We react to other people's behavior, um, maybe without thinking, without really being deeply aware of what's going on with them. Um, so observing before engaging is important. Um, there's a lot of times, like with my kids, where I would just not just walk away. Like, okay, we need to let's let's just hold on here. Um, try to figure out what's happening. You may the front of what's happening may be very different than where it's coming from, and taking the time to observe the situation, observe what they're really trying to say, and also observing, right, how is that, like, what is your real reaction? Um, a lot of times, our reaction to what people say or do has a lot to do with where our head is right now, and not so much what we really believe, but what our kind of our reaction is. We might have an angry reaction to something, um, just because we're not in a great mood. We might get into a habit where everything we say is no, right? No, no, no. Um, we aren't open to new ideas because our first reaction is always negative. Um, so if you find yourself, you know, having some of these patterns, again, observe. Try to observe, where is that coming from. Um, take some time. Maybe you want to, think about these things before you get into it with somebody. Um, I think a lot of people right now are under a great deal of pressure, um, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Honestly, the stress of dealing with um, changes and different things going on can take a toll physically, right? Maybe you're not sleeping very well. Maybe you're eating crazy stuff. I got to tell you, having the election a few days after Halloween, who thought that was a good idea? I've been eating a lot of candy and it's not doing me any good. I'm going to tell you right now, but yet I'm still doing it. So um, I'll be very glad when everything is done and I can toss the candy in the bin. Although I don't think my kids will let me do that. So we didn't give out candy, but of course we have candy. So uh, there's so much candy. It's not good at all. Um, but yeah, so everybody, again, let's be aware that as stressed as we may feel at times, so is everyone else. And people are just sort of walking around with this simmering level of uh, uncertainty, and it bubbles out, right? It comes out. People are angry. People are unsure. Um, there are a lot of people who are still out of work. There are a lot of people who unemployment has run out, and they're not at all sure what's going to happen next. You know, my kids' unemployment is run out, and I don't know what's next for them. Thankfully, they're here, but I think of all of the kids that they worked with, and many of them didn't have families to move back to. I don't know what will happen to them. Um, and think about that, multiplied by thousands all over the country, all over the world, really. Um, I mean, I think other countries are doing maybe a better job at making sure that people have enough money to eat than we do. I hope that we will have some changes with that. But, um, we may be headed into some difficult months. Um, and this is going to take all of our yoga knowledge and all of our um, observation, right? Self awareness. Study what's going on with you. What do you need today? What kind of asana do you need? Which one of the yamas or the niyamas do we need to focus on? Managing our mental health and our physical health and our spiritual health are important. Um, it's important all the time, but it's especially important when things are not going so great in the world, when we have crises or problems. You're not going to deal with what's going on out there well if you aren't pretty solid within. So start there. Um, the I like this saying, and I think it's a Benjamin Franklin thing, where if you take care of the pennies, the dollars take care of themselves, right? So if you think of your own internal structure as just as important or more important than the external world, you will be able to deal with what comes your way. If you're constantly focusing outwards, this inner part, there's no stability. There's no ability to cope with the changes that come your way. So get this sorted, and then that other stuff, you will be able to deal with what happens in a productive way, in a way that gets you through things. Right? Okay. So let's do some asana. I was painting a lot yesterday. Hey, also I saw Jeannie. Um, for anybody who knows Jeannie, she was walking her dog, and she said hi. So so she seems to be doing good. Still out walking her dog. It's a nice day for it. And yeah. So I hope that everybody else is. I haven't really heard from a couple of people. I'm not sure. I had a couple of people tell me that they've had some issues with their backs and some surgeries and things like that. So um, they're not yoga-ing currently, but hopefully, get back to it. Even if asana isn't something that you can do, you can always work on the yamas and niyamas, right? These are really the core of yoga, much more so than um, just the movements, right? So let's do some asana today. We're not going to do a huge big thing, but we're going to do some. All right. So we're sitting up. Relax the shoulders. Taking deep breaths in and out through the nose. So as you're moving through the practice today, notice, observe what's going on within. Right? How is what you are doing with the outward body affecting the inward body? And this is something you can do anytime, right? Noticing how your internal feelings are affected by what you're doing externally. It can be a very interesting practice. You can be very surprised by how different things affect you in different ways. Deep breath, and then chin down toward the chest. Moving the head around. One way and then the other. And back to center. Lean forward and move around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat. Let's walk the hands out in front. Back up, hands behind. Fingertips are sort of pointing away from the body. Squeeze the shoulders together, gaze up. Back up to your seat. Arms wide. Take a deep breath and then exhale, hands together. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands high. We're gazing up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Once more. Lifting up. And lower. Let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Right hand on left knee. Left hand behind you, sit up tall, and then take a twist. Back to center, switch sides. And back to center. Both legs out in front. Let's point and flex the feet. And then rotate the ankles. So I've noticed, right, being on ladders and things, working on the porch, not great on the legs and the calves and everything. It's rough stuff. So again, I want to do what I can to kind of support that, because I still have a lot of work to do. So it's not going to be over anytime soon. Soles of the feet together. Sit up tall and fold. Turn the legs out in front again. Inhale and fold. Bring that right foot in, close. Sitting up tall for a couple of breaths. And then lowering that right knee out to the side. Foot comes up against the leg. Take a deep breath. And then fold forward. Back up. Let's switch. Hugging that left leg in and then lowering the knee to the side. Take a deep breath and fold forward. Back up, both legs out in front. Take a deep breath, fold forward. And then back up, bend the knees. And we're going to lower down. Finding a place where you feel comfortable. Let's extend the legs long. Bring the arms up overhead. And we're going to walk the feet over to the right a little. And the arms as well. So kind of a little curve to the body. You might bring the left ankle up on top of the right, just to kind of add to that stretch along the left side. And then back to center, moving to the left. Back to center. Bring the hands back down. We can do 5-pointed star. So the arms are out to a T. Legs are wider on the mat. And then bring everything back to center. Bend the knees. Right ankle on top of the left. Maybe drawing that thigh in. If you can, if that works today. If not, then just leaving that left foot set on the ground and pressing the right knee away. And then set the foot down. We'll switch sides. Doing the same on one side as the other. And both feet back on the mat. Take a couple of breaths. And then we're going to do a regular bridge followed by a supported bridge. So, got a block, have it nearby. We're going to set up for regular bridge. Walk in the heels, back close to the body. Hands are by your side. Feet about hip width apart. Pressing down with the hands and the feet, lifting up the hips. And then lowering down. Take a breath. And then we're going to support a bridge. So lifting up. Get your block. And then just rest here. So if you don't have, a regular yoga block, you could use a lot of things here. You could use like a firm cushion. They make blocks like this out of bamboo and cork. So there are varying levels of rigidity. Some are more flexible than others. You could even use like a piece of wood, right? That would be a big piece of wood. But there's nothing special about yoga blocks. In particular, it's just, an easy and inexpensive material to make them from. So you could use books. I'd use that in a pinch. Stack of books. Just make sure that they are hardback and sturdy enough and that they don't slip around. I think when I've used books, I wrap them in a towel or something to keep them together. There's really no end to what you can use. Then lifting up, remove the block. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. Maybe hands up over the head if you like. Bringing everything to center. Hug the knees of the chest. You can rock a little side to side. And then arms to a T, or goalpost arms. We can lower both knees over to the right. Back to center, and moving left. Back to center. And reaching for the instep or the ankle. We can come into happy baby. Moving side to side if you like. Or maybe you prefer to stay still. Release. And extend the legs straight up. And then lowering the legs down. Rest comfortably on the mat. And find a place where you feel good to be in Shavasana. Letting everything go here. Letting go of thoughts that arise. When you're ready, moving a bit. And then coming up to a seat, let's bring hands together. Breath in and out. Thank you for coming to your mat this morning, for sharing some yoga with me. I hope you have a very good rest of the day. Namaste. Okay, how about some meditation? 5 minutes. Why not? 5 minutes is nothing. Just a moment out of your day. But it's a good little mental health break, right? And 5 minutes of meditation anytime during the day can be a real boost, right? If you're feeling kind of low, you're feeling kind of tired, it's a great way to kind of refresh yourself. So we're sitting up tall, comfortable, relaxed breath, steady, focus. opening your eyes back to your awareness. Great. Okay, so have a peaceful day. Um, know that whatever comes, we will be here tomorrow. And I will be here tomorrow. So I'll see you then.